What's going on, folks? Smash that like button, waiting on some of my moderators to get in here, man. And we gonna get down to it. Let's get to the business. Double tap that screen when y'all coming to the live. And definitely share and subscribe, man. New channel. Here we go. Let me see if I can get a few people up in here. Here we go, here we go.
Send professional invoices and get paid faster, all with the QuickBooks mobile app. Easily create and...
Joining me now, Media Matters President Angela Corazon. Amanda Carpenter is still with me, along with political strategist and content creator Sawyer Hackett, and MS Now's David Noriega, who's been covering fractures in the MAGA movement in Trump's second term. Sawyer, I thought this was supposed to be a party for the country. Why does it seem like it's a party for him?
Yeah, I think Tom Nichols had it exactly right there. I mean, I think great presidents would use this as an opportunity to unify the country and to elevate the country, really. And Donald Trump has clearly just using it to divide America and elevate himself. And it's really to his detriment, because it's such an opportunity to kind of bring the country together behind kind of shared history, shared ideals. And instead, it just becomes a political rally. And like everything he touches, it just turns to a complete hacky mess. I mean, the reflecting pool, the ballroom, Iran, everything he touches just completely turns into a cheap-looking mess. And that's exactly what you saw in that event. You have states pulling out of America's 250th anniversary celebration. You have big musical artists essentially conned into performing there, only to realize that this is going to be a MAGA rally. It's really just kind of a pathetic turn of events at what should be a rallying point for the country.
I want to be clear, Amanda. It could be easy to act as though we're talking about like some groomzilla here who's gone too crazy on a party, but this ties back to all the democracy work that you were doing. He is trying to make the nation's capital, the country, in his image.
Yeah, the capital.
What's up, family? Double tap that screen, man. Open Eyes Media. Smash that like button and definitely watch the channel grow, man. We're going to 10,000 subscribers ASAP. Here we go.
Belongs to us. It is for everyone. And the fact that he is doing a Trump MAGA rally on July 4th really puts into focus. But anyone that visits Washington, D.C. right now can see how it has changed. Yes, there's now a giant tarp over the Kennedy Center because he got his name stripped off, but he still put his name on it. He put his name on the Institute of Peace, which is right by that building. He has wrecked the reflecting pool, which is just around the road. You drive down Pennsylvania Avenue and you see federal buildings with his face and banners covering it. He wants to put that gaudy Arc de Trump, which I call the Ego Arch, in the middle of the view between Lincoln and the Arlington National Cemetery, which was designed so people could reflect on the Civil War and all the sacrifices that were made in this country to free it from slavery. And he wants to put himself in the middle of it. And none of this belongs to him. I mean, this is why it's such a gross abuse of power. It's not just, well, Trump is an egomaniac. None of it belongs to him. The capital city is ours. He did not get permission to do any of this, to spend any of this money. And it's just being thrown in our faces on our nation's 250th birthday party.
There was this detail from the new Haberman Jonathan Swan book, Regime Change. It says, quote, privately, Trump has also mused about the possibility of topping the arc with a replica of his own fist raised as he cried, fight, 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 after a 2024 assassination attempt. Angela, who wants that?
I mean, he does. And obviously people that want to curry favor with him, right? I mean, when I read that part of the book, the first thing I thought about is it's not that fantastic because he already has a 22-foot Don Colossus statue at Trump Doral. So he's done something similar already, which is the fight thing, and he put that portrait in the White House. So he does, and the people that want to curry favor with him, and he'll put it out there, see how people respond. But it's part of the larger story we're telling here. He's shaping the physical world around us, in most cases breaking it, and we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that as much as he's breaking the world, DC, these physical spaces, he's stamping all of our institutions as well and destroying them in the same way. They're just not physical, so you can't see them. But he's putting his stamp on all the things that sort of make America America.
I ask the question, David, who is this for? Because I don't get it, to be frank, right? I don't see what the appeal is. I understand that there is a base of people who may find this appealing, but you've actually been speaking with former MAGA loyalists who are beginning to see the light.
Yeah. So I found out that there was this support group, essentially, for people who have left MAGA. And it's called Leaving MAGA is the name of the support group. And I was initially a little bit skeptical because they talked about it in cult terms, right? They offer de-radicalization resources, therapy for them and family members, et cetera. And I've reported on cults before, and I thought it was important to make sure that we understand that, supporting Donald Trump is not, in fact, a cult. It is a political ideology. It's the dominant political ideology. Voting for Trump does not mean you're a member of a cult. But I met with these people. I met with a group of 5 of them.
Where?
In Fort Lauderdale, which is where the group is based. There are corners of MAGA that are, in fact, very cult-like. And we're talking about the way that Trump is reshaping the physical world. He has also completely reshaped the worldview of many people in this country in a way that is not concerned with empirical truth, right? And so when you spend years of your life in a place like that, a headspace like that, and then suddenly something causes you to reassess it, it's not easy to suddenly transition out of that. So, let's play a little bit of the interview that I did so that we can talk about it. So let's listen to that and then talk on the other side. Hearing you guys talk about...
Listen, what if you can start your own lending business, helping other businesses get access to capital, funding, credit, money, and by doing so, earn large commissions, even if you have no prior experience? Now, you're seeing some of the people on your screen who are exactly doing
MAGA and about supporting Trump. It sounds like you're talking often about like a cult that's damaging.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. We all have a need for community. Our species yearns for a communal existence. And what MAGA does provide is a place where people feel seen and heard and recognized. And some of their very valid fears and concerns are acknowledged and validated. We used to say, we're not in the cult, the outside world is the cult, and we're not the crazies, the outside world are the crazies.
So just to add a little bit more detail to that, one of the people you saw in that group for a long time was deep in the online tradwife subculture. One of the women you saw in that group, she actually believed in household voting, like the idea that women shouldn't vote, instead their husbands should vote on their behalf. That's how deep some of these people go. So extracting themselves from that is difficult. The thing that I think is really, really interesting about this, just a detail given the election results in New York, a lot of these folks, when they stopped voting for Trump, they didn't go to conventional Democrats. They went towards democratic socialists. One of them.
What's the number one group that may be responsible for protecting our rule of law and to empower federal judges to use their inherent authority to root out corruption, fraud, deceit, and contempt and contumacious conduct in their courtroom? Former federal and state judges, hundreds of them, in unprecedented ways. Never in 250 years have almost 300 former judges come together and regularly submit applications, motions, and briefs to federal judges at the district court level and the appellate court level and the Supreme Court level to encourage them to use their inherent authority to stop the most corrupt Department of Justice in our history, to stop one of the most corrupt attorneys general in our history in Todd Blanche. And who is behind the scenes orchestrating and coordinating the work and the efforts of these judges? Who just got together 174 judges to file a brief to convince and encourage the appellate panel, the full en banc panel of 11 judges in the District of Columbia, a federal court, to support Chief Judge Boasberg and his criminal contempt proceedings against the Department of Justice and Donald Trump? Who's behind the 35 judges that filed their brief with Judge Williams in Miami to encourage her to use her inherent authority to root out fraud and corruption and fraud on the court perpetrated by Donald Trump and his lawyers and the Department of Justice? Who's responsible for the 101 judges who just filed a bar complaint with my bar regulator in New York against Todd Blanche, calling him unfit? It is exactly J. Michael Luttig, former Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals judge. He should be our Chief Justice today instead of John Roberts. It was that close. And now he's gotten off the sidelines of history. He's a constitutional scholar. He is a federalist for sure, but he is a constitutionalist.
Did you know that Ground News has a dedicated feed called Blind Spot where you can compare how different sides of the political spectrum are covering stories? I got you 40% off the Ground News Vantage plan, so you can use it too. Go to ground.news/Midas or click the link in the bottom left corner.
And now when you piece together all of these things that have happened in the last few days, where courage begets courage, what do you have? You have the firewall to protect our democracy. When I interviewed Michael Luttig in the last 24 hours, he looked the camera in the eye. I've interviewed Michael Luttig, Judge Luttig, I don't know, a dozen times. I've never seen him this angry. I've never seen him squint this much about the corruption of the Department of Justice. Never in 250 years. The corruption of the Attorney General. The corruption of Todd Blanche. He point blank says Todd Blanche is unfit. And I cover it all, including a fascinating interview with Lee Galern of the American Civil Liberties Union. And we do it on Midas Touch and Legal AF. I'm Michael Popak. Take a minute and hit that free subscribe button. Let's get to my interview with Judge Luttig. So this is the last 24 hours, folks. I asked Judge Luttig if Todd Blanche is fit to be the Attorney General. We're getting up to the eve of when he's going to be on a confirmation hearing. And this is what Judge Luttig had to say. Is he unfit to be the Attorney General of the United States, Judge?
No, of course he is. It's not even a question. I mean, it's an embarrassment to America that the President of the United States would nominate this man be Attorney General of the United States, just like it was an embarrassment that he nominated Pam Bondi before him.
Right. Not fit for office. He also talked about the reason he's yoked together all of these federal and state judges, along with Nancy Gertner, another federal judge, that they alone can rise above the din of partisanship and be heard to give support and a backbone and comfort to federal judges under attack to have them do the right thing. Here's what Judge Luttig had to say about that.
This is pure and simple corruption, okay? Corruption, textbook corruption. Now, the second point I want to make is this, for history, if you want to put it that way, every American, from the criminal in the street to the President of the United States, for 250 years, Michael, has accepted and understood that when you walk into a court of law in the United States of America, you tell the truth, you tell the whole truth, you tell nothing but the truth. You tell the truth about the facts of the case, you tell the truth about the law of the case under grave penalty. For the first time in 250 years, Michael, this administration, led by President Donald Trump and his multiple attorneys general at this point, have gone into federal courts across the land with very few exceptions, lying to the federal courts and the individual federal judges to their faces about the facts and the law. God help us if this ever happens again in the United States of America. But I do not believe this will ever happen again. No longer, no matter how long this nation endures.
And if you think this is not important and it's not piercing through and getting through to appellate panels and federal panels and district court judges, it is. And how do I know that? Because I just interviewed Lee Galert from the American Civil Liberties Union, and I asked him about, point blank, does 174 judges joining your case with a friend of the court brief encouraging that the appellate court reverse a lower court opinion to give Judge Boasberg back his power to start criminal contempt proceedings against the Trump administration? Does that group of judges matter? Here's what Lee had to say about it.
The fact that all these former judges and in a nonpartisan, bipartisan way have come out is so critical, because it's taking a lot of courage for the sitting judges, given how the administration is acting. And just, a couple of things. One is Chief Judge Boasberg was sort of the first to come out and say, look, this is unacceptable, violating court orders. And it took a lot of courage. And as you know, the administration really went after him, from the president calling for his impeachment to online attacks. And so he has been very courageous, and he has not let them deter him, and he has stuck with it. And what I think you see is courage begetting more courage, because other judges now, Republican or democratically appointed, have come out and said the same thing, and that their orders are being violated. So I think the fact that hopefully we prevail in this en banc and the DC Circuit has Judge Boasberg's back will be important, not only in our case, but will send an important signal throughout the country that the appellate courts are going to have the district courts back. And just one other thing about the Amici, he's done an incredible job rallying all these judges, but I also want to put in a plug for his co-author, former Judge Nancy Gertner, from the District Court of Massachusetts, who has been integrally involved in this as well. And the two of them have been out there rallying all these other judges, and that to have their support has been absolutely essential for them to come up, because that, as he said, that is so rare for former judges to be coming out like this.
Exactly. In fact, I asked Judge Luttig about that Lee Galert clip, sort of a call and response, and here's what Judge Luttig had to say in response. So that was Lee, I think, speaking directly to you. What do you think, Judge?
Well, I appreciate every word that Mr. Galert just said, and especially I appreciate what he said about what he said he believed our impact was on the sitting judges.
Our next sponsor had a story that really resonated with me, especially with everything around metabolism and trying to approach it the right way. This podcast is sponsored by Veracity. Ali Egan, Veracity's founder, CEO, and certified hormonal health coach, experienced compromised metabolic health firsthand, including years of undiagnosed Hashimoto's, an autoimmune disease that impacts the thyroid. She found functional medicine, which focused on underlying root causes and helped her take her health back into her own hands. Veracity was created to give people access to holistic solutions and support optimal health. With their most popular product, Metabolism Ignite, you get an all-natural, caffeine-free formula made with ingredients like lemon verbena, hibiscus extract, green coffee bean extract, and magnesium. Clinical trials showed no negative side effects from the ingredients. I like that it's a simple doctor-formulated option to support your metabolism. So learn from Ali and make the switch to Veracity. Head to veracityhealth.co and use code LegalAF for up to 65% off your order. Once again, that's VERACITY health.co for up to 65% off, and make sure you use my promo code LegalAF so they know I sent you. Now, Now, the reason I wanted to platform all of this in one video is because I wanted you to understand what goes on behind the scenes, how former federal and state judges are identifying picking their moments. And effectively, it's relatively easily. If it stinks to high heaven to the average person, it stinks to the federal judges, and they rush to the rescue. Here's Judge Luttig on that very point.
The man in the street in America right now is going, what the hell is going on at the Department of Justice? That's what the judges see every week. And they just, again, as I said in your program the last time, all that I do and Nancy does, and we operate together, is we offer an opportunity for the judges to participate if they want, anytime that we see an issue that we think they might be interested in. We present the opportunity to all the 300 judges or more, and then individual judge decides whether he or she wants to participate. And if they do, then we have the brief written up, we approve it, circulate it to them, and they join it or not join it. And it's an unbelievable process, as I said, never before in history.
This is the type of information that we need now. As Judge Luttig said to me in the interview, there is no more important moment in time than have this issue front and center with your audience, Michael. This is what your audience needs to be focused on. Here's Judge Luttig.
But I do want to make this point on Midas Touch today, Legal AF. There is nothing more important going on in America today than these litigations in the federal courts, supported by this group of over 300 retired state and federal judges. If the country is to be saved through this administration's war on the federal courts and the Constitution, it will be because of the federal judges and the retired federal judges who have supported their sitting colleagues.
And we're going to do it. This group is yoked together. We are animated. We are vibrating on the same frequency. We are energetic. We are the Midas Mighty and the Legal AFers. I'm glad you're here. Take a minute, hit the free subscribe button over on Legal AF YouTube channel, and link below, you can get the clip for my full interview of Legal Alert and Judge Michael Luttig. Until my next report here on Midas Touch, I'm Michael Popak. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.
What is that? What's that sound? What are you doing? You getting off now? No, I ain't gonna stop.
What's the number one group that may be responsible for protecting our rule of law and to empower federal judges to use their inherent authority to root out corruption, fraud, deceit, and contempt and contumacious conduct in their courtroom? Former federal and state judges, hundreds of them, in unprecedented ways. Never in 250 years have almost 300 former judges come together and regularly submit applications, motions, and briefs to federal judges at the district court level and the appellate court level and the Supreme Court level to encourage them to use their inherent authority to stop the